Hey, hello to the big, beautiful morning. This is 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair with the Monday edition of the Morning Buzz, the last one of the semester. I am your host, Kyle Pepitone, and this time it's not a green screen if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube. I am actually in studio today with my co host, Ryan Breda. Ryan, how are you?
Well, good morning, Kyle. How you doing? It's great to finally be with you in person, instead of looking at you from like the shoulder up. So
Yeah, it's an experience. I've actually been here since what is it, like 6:15 for the morning show at 8 because I like being early to things. And with the parkway, you never know what traffic's going to be.
oh, of course. And that's just Montclair traffic too in the morning.
Yeah.
But
But I was here this morning and it was dead. I didn't see a single other person.
that's a,
It was peaceful.
it's been like that like all year, really, to be honest with you.
Oh, really?
But
Yeah.
things are looking up.
Hopefully, yeah. We're supposed to go back to in person on whatever that month is, September. So, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
But we are here today with other people too. We have our newscaster Thomas Tarter with us. But
Hello,
first,
Radio World.
hello Thomas, how are you?
I'm all right.
All right. Well, we'll be hearing your newscast right after this.
This news is brought to you by 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair.
Hit it.
All right. Good morning, WMSC Upper Montclair. I am Thomas Tarter with your news update. First, according to News 12 New Jersey, Governor Phil Murphy will hold a press conference today on the CDC's lifting of mask mandates for fully vaccinated people, as the CDC recently announced that the removal of mask mandates in most public places for anyone who is fully vaccinated. The governor will also discuss New Jersey's quarantine rules in today's press conference. According to News 12 New Jersey, one of the more unfortunate parts of the summer season is the increase in wildfires. Firefighters are working to contain a fire that started yesterday in Little Egg Harbor. The fire started around 4 p.m. yesterday and has burned 70 acres of Little Egg Harbor and could pose a risk to homes in Little Egg Harbor and surrounding areas in Ocean County. Right now, they state that evacuation is voluntary. However, they have closed off some roads in the surrounding areas. Your weather for today is a high of 76 degrees with a low of 53 degrees. Getting that summer weather in. And that was your Monday newscast.
Awesome. Thank you, Thomas. And we also have Matt Bruchet over Zoom with the Monday Sportscast. Matt, what is going on in the world of
Good
sports?
morning. In Montclair State sports news, all is pretty quiet just because the school year is just a week away from being over. Although there are some notable Red Hawks who received some awards for their performances. Christine Griffith was named the most outstanding athlete, as well as a first-team All-NJAC in shot put and javelin. Softball player Kayla Gallo was named first-team All-East Region, and John Griffith was named most outstanding field athlete, as well as first-team All-NJAC for shot put. In professional sports in the MLB, the Mets have lost their third and final match of the series against the Tampa Bay Rays, dropping the record to 18-16. They would take on fellow NL East opponent, the Atlanta Braves, tonight. The Yankees lost to the Orioles 10-6, but still won the series 2-1. Their record is at 22-18, and they will take on the Texas Rangers tonight. In the NBA, we had the final games of the regular season tip-off last night, so we get a final look on where teams stand before the play-in tournament. The Nets have locked in the second seed, which means they'll be playing the winner of the Wizards-Celtics play-in tournament match. And the Knicks have locked up the fourth seed, which matches them up against Trae Young and Atlanta Hawks. Some notable matchups to look out for. In the East, the Bucks at the 3 seed will be taking on the Heat at the 6 seed. This is a rematch of the Eastern Conference playoffs last year when the Heat upset the Bucks. In the West, the Lakers will be playing the Warriors in the play-in. LeBron versus Curry again. The winner will take on the 7 seed, will be the 7 seed and play the Suns, while the loser will be in a win or go home situation against the Grizzlies or the Spurs. And today, in sports history, in 2020, thrown all the way back 1 year ago, Michael Jordan autographs Air Nike One trainers that were from 1985, which sold for a record $560,000 in an online auction. We'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So, Ryan, what do you say for our final show of the Spring Morning Buzz, the Monday edition at least? Shall we get into it?
I think we should.
All right. Well, amidst the CDC's require or statement of no more mask or no mask in outdoor or indoor places for those vaccinated, houses of worship have been struggling with the vaccinated and unvaccinated divide. So, throughout the pandemic, many places of worship have transitioned to streaming or producing pre-recorded masses for people to worship at home. Me and my family have been doing this for quite a while, ever since like the start. We've been watching this church from Washington D.C. So, a lot of these places are now doing live streams or pre-recorded things, but even though the vaccination numbers are going up, this really hasn't solved the problem regarding in-person celebrations. One particular church, the African Methodist Episcopal Church, has not gone back to in-person celebrations yet. However, Reverend Jeffrey Leith said that if they were to go back, he would still require a mask for everybody, refraining from hugs and handshakes, and most of all, no maskless singing. He said he wanted to do this because, quote, "We're supposed to be encouraging truth, so why tempt somebody to lie? I also don't want to create a class of leopards of sorts within congregations." End quotes. On the other hand, at the Alkin Avenue Church of Christ in Nashville, they have gone back to in-person masses, albeit outdoors still, but they've given some liberties to vaccinated patrons. Preacher J.P. Conway said, quote, "If you're vaccinated and you'd like to take off your mask when you sing, feel free," end quote, for their outdoor method. He has also begun to tell congregations what percent of the churchgoers are vaccinated on a weekly basis, saying the more people who get vaccinated, the more things they can open up to back when they were normal. So, I mean, it seems every church is handling the vaccination numbers differently. I really liked what Reverend Jeffrey Leith was saying. Like, if you're going to ask, we don't want to ask people to get vaccinated because, that would tempt somebody to say, "Oh, yeah, I have," when, they didn't. And then amidst that, you have people who are vaccinated who have the potential or could look at the unvaccinated people as, like you said, a group of leopards and, kind of keep their distance from them, which, we've been doing for a year now, but it's becoming more, it would be more classified if it was between vaccinated and unvaccinated people. But Ryan, what do you think about this?
Well, I mean, a lot, we all know a lot came out over the weekend about, the vaccinated and unvaccinated, what we could and can't do.
Right.
And believe it or not, singing, if you're not vaccinated, goes a long way in spreading COVID if you have your mask off, because you're releasing droplets from your mouth.
Right.
And now the race is going to be between people who either want to get vaccinated and don't have to wear a mask anymore, or people who are still not getting vaccinated. They won't be able to do the things that they would like to do, according to the national federal guidelines. Right.
Right.
So it's it's a really different shift in between, the two, like the Nashville choir and the African Methodist. Right. It's because you don't want to tell your people who go to your church get vaccinated now, and it's like, because it's like a class divide thing in a way,
Yeah, pretty much.
So it's definitely a unique situation. I think it could cause a lot of problems in the near future if people don't get vaccinated, because I think right now, if you are vaccinated, you're able to do some of the more things that you're able to do.
Yeah, and certainly in certain places, right? Because I know, like, the CDC said, hey, if you're vaccinated, you can ease up on the mask, and then New Jersey came right out and said, no, we're not doing that yet.
Right. And it's just like, in all parts of the country, there's going to be different things happening. And at the same time, you might have people, let's say in New Jersey, for example, right? You're fully vaccinated. You still have to wear a mask. That might cause issues for people working somewhere,
Right.
And I think things are getting slightly better, but I think going forward, there needs to be just one consistent message on it. But,
yeah, definitely.
It's
I mean, isn't that pretty much what the CDC is meant to do? Kind of have the say all be all of what everybody should be doing.
Yeah. I mean, you would think,
Yeah. So it's weird to see like a lot of, I know there are some states that are not on board with it yet. I know New York and California are considering going with what the CDC said, but New Jersey just flat out said no, which is, it's a weird thing to do because our transmission numbers have been the lowest they've been since this started.
Right.
So it's really weird to see how Murphy so quickly came out with said not yet.
I
Well,
just
I was gonna, yeah, I just want to say I think part of it is like that would have to rely, because it's only for fully vaccinated people, so that would have to rely on like the honor system, and a lot of people just are not honest, and they there's like a like a section of people that just don't want to get the vaccine. And
Right. Yeah, that is true. You have those numbers going up. Not so much going up, but you have numbers of the population there. Like, I'm not ready for this yet. Like, it's I don't think they're against it completely. I think like a big majority of the people who are like who don't want to get vaccinated are more like, I'm skeptical about how fast this came out.
and I also think people are just in general, like some people just don't care anymore. Some people don't think it affects them, some people don't think it will cause any harm. So,
Right.
and then just there's like going back to like vaccination stuff, like just some people just don't want to get vaccinated either, like
Yeah.
I'm just saying like, oh, I don't need it. What's the requirement right now? Unless it's required. Uh, Um, so it's definitely something to be looked at. And in regards to like New Jersey, Governor Murphy could lift that in a few weeks. He just wants the New Jersey population be 70% vaccinated.
Right. And I mean, you bring up an interesting point, Thomas. You said it's for those people who are fully vaccinated. And we were looking at that story a few weeks ago where people are just avoiding their second shot because they feel like they don't need it. Of course, there were other reasons too, like Walmart, I think was the main issue, where they just didn't have Walgreens or Walmart, where they didn't have enough of the one people needed. So they weren't actively looking for a second appointment because they couldn't find a place. Like there were a few examples where somebody got Pfizer and then the Walgreens they got the first shot at only had the AstraZeneca vaccine, and they were sent on a wild goose chase trying to find their second vaccine. And eventually they just said, if it happens, it happens, but I'm not going to keep looking for it actively. So I think that's also probably a contributing factor to this whole what Murphy said, the not yet thing.
yeah, and our station manager, no, not our station, our morning buzz director, just asked if we were vaccinated or not, and I just want to say I got my first dose, but I have not received my second dose yet, so I would not qualify for.
Right. I myself have not been gotten it yet at all, only because I've seen the way people have been like getting affected by this. Or like, oh, I was out for like a full day, and with finals, I can't afford that. So I wanted to finish school first before I went out and got it, because if I lose a day, I would be stressed beyond belief. I mean, I already am stressed beyond belief, but it'd be a little bit more than it would be now.
Yeah. I mean, I got Johnson & Johnson back in April, so that was cool.
And that's the one-shot one only, right?
Yes, and that was honestly better for me. Because honestly, it's just more convenient in a way. Johnson & Johnson's shot, because you don't have to go back for a second shot.
Yeah.
And that also, Johnson & Johnson was beneficial for the homeless because it was one shot and they'd be able to get the one shot. That was according to the New York Times. I saw an article for that too. It was easier for the homeless to get vaccinated with the Johnson & Johnson shot. And if there's more production of Johnson & Johnson, maybe vaccinations would speed up a little bit. I don't know. But I am fully vaccinated. And I did have a bad reaction, but at the end of the day, that's what happens with vaccines sometimes when they work.
Right.
So.
Yeah. But it feels like these are like bad. Like I've never had, like I've gotten other vaccines before, and I've never, based on what everybody's telling me, I've never felt this bad. I don't remember ever feeling like almost on death's door because of a vaccine.
It also like depends on the person's immune system too. Like,
right. Yeah.
They tell you, I know when I got vaccinated, they said drink a lot of water and Gatorade before. Did I do that? Nope. So that's why I felt so bad. That's part of the reason why. And also I had the antibodies still.
Right.
So it was like, I was bound to get a reaction because it's like antibodies fighting, the vaccine. And if anything, that's like extra immunity. But at the same time,
yeah,
it's obviously something was going to happen. I was going to have some type of reaction. But, it only lasted for a day. But
that's not bad. Like, it's probably not great that everybody's not feeling great afterwards, but if it's only a day, it's not that bad.
Right.
But according to our Morning Buzz producer, Amanda, said she had like no reaction at all, just a sore arm for the first one. And the second one, she was just tired. So that's very interesting.
Promising, you know. I mean, definitely, like I said, water and Gatorade, everyone. That's the savior.
All right. Now, before we move on, I have to ask you this very important question. What's the best color of Gatorade?
Oh, it's the red one by far. Or the yellow one. The yellow one is great.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, yellow one is lemon lime.
Yes.
Because that's the one I'm going with, but I was going to call it green, but I guess it's more yellow. But yes, yellow is definitely much better.
Our sportscaster Matt just said light blue. That's probably one of the worst flavors.
Ooh, that's a controversial one.
That's extremely controversial, but we should put a Twitter poll on that, see what people think. But
well, I mean, it's an undisputed fact. First off, that you have to call the Gatorade by colors and not whatever flavor they are. That's just how it works.
Oh, I don't know the flavors. I don't even know what the red flavor is, to be honest with you. So,
yeah, I believe it's fruit punch. I mean, that's just the go-to for anything red or cherry.
Yeah.
Anyway, Ryan, our next story. Would you like to take it away?
Sure, of course. So the UN Security Council met over Israeli-Palestinian violence. This is from NPR. So members of the UN Security Council met on Sunday to discuss the violence that has occurred between Israel and Palestine. Over the past week, more than 180 Palestinians and 10 people in Israel have been killed. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said, quote, "This latest round of violence only perpetuates the cycles of death, destruction, and despair. The fighting must stop. It must stop immediately." He also added, "The United Nations is actively engaging all sides for an immediate ceasefire." Everything that's been happening in Israel and Palestine has been sad, to say the least.
Right.
Even looking at why it's happening, looking at the amount of deaths and injuries that have occurred, especially to innocent children and, parents, things like that, has been sad. And it could have been avoided in a way, I guess. It's like what's happening, you have this terrorist group that is, bombing parts in Israel, and then Israel is retaliating at Palestine, and Palestine is not doing anything. It's because of this terrorist group that's causing it,
Right.
And it's just, I feel for the people of Palestine right now in Israel. 180 innocent lives that are lost. Definitely calling for ceasefire was definitely needed, because this is getting, not only is it hard to watch, but it's just innocent lives are being lost. So there needs to be calls for peace from President Biden. I know he had statements about it, and he had a press conference about it, but at the same time, it's obviously not working. So,
right. And now you said that the terrorist group was attacking Israel. Israel was retaliating at Palestine, and you said Palestine wasn't doing anything. Did you mean they weren't initiating it, or are they not fighting? Are they not retaliating against Israel? Do you know what I mean?
So it's Hamas that's really causing the issues.
Right.
I mean, Hamas is really the ones that were really edging it on in a way ever since with the mosque attack, right? Hamas really decided it was they had to retaliate, right? Because of the attack on the mosque, one of the holiest mosques, right? So it's hard, because it's like I'm not supporting any side at all. I'm just saying everyone what's happening. It's just the amount of just endless and ruthless just bombings, though. I don't know if you guys saw the video of just that one building just being torn, it literally just collapsed down. It's just destructive, and it's been happening weeks and weeks, almost 2 weeks now on end. It hasn't stopped. Every single day it's something new.
Right. Yeah. And it's really horrible to read about. I mean, it's just been obviously there's always been bad news. There's been horrible things going on in the world ever since pretty much the world existed. But it's just these past 2 years, just seeing more and more. It's just so disheartening to hear about, to read, to see in this case, because we have, like you said, the videos and photos of everything, and it's not an easy thing to like talk about and mention, but yeah, I'm really at a loss for words right now.
And it's like, fighting has happened. This is going into its second week, and the New York Times says there's no clear end in sight.
Yeah.
The airstrike on Gaza this weekend killed at least 42 people, the deadliest attack in the current conflict between Israel and Palestine. And the number of rockets fired at Israel from Gaza topped 3,000.
What? 3,000? Yikes.
And, people who are living, like civilians are asking, like, which are both sides committing war crimes. And it's just, like I said, the number of rockets fired at Israel from Gaza topped 3,000. And this is going into the second week. So, and there's no
3,000 in a 2-week period is, I don't like to hear that. That's like a really astronomical number for such a short period of time.
Yeah, I mean, there was a funeral yesterday as well,
Right.
for the people who were killed in an airstrike by Israel on Gaza City. So all I can really say is, heart goes out to everyone, and
Right, exactly.
and we can only just call for ceasefire and see what happens in the near future.
Right.
Hopefully there's peace soon.
Thomas, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say, did the article say if President Biden was planning on like a diplomatic option or something like that, or an address about the event?
So in this article right now, there was nothing in here. The UN met yesterday just to see, let's like really stable themselves in a way. But I could tell you on Face the Nation on Sunday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Sunday that he will do whatever it takes to restore order and quiet and the security of our people and deterrence.
Okay.
So, and Netanyahu said Israel, like other countries, has a right to defend itself.
Right. So, I mean, like they said, or like you said, like we can only hope, like we can only call for a ceasefire and really hope for the best, hope like everything, comes to an end hopefully very soon, because 2 weeks doesn't seem like a long amount of time, but it is still way too long for something like this to be going on.
Right.
But do you want to move on to the next story, or is there something else you would like to say about this?
No, I mean, I really said what we had to say. I mean,
Right.
unless you want to go to take a little break now, Kyle.
I think that is probably the best way to do it. Just like, let this sink in for a little bit. So you are listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair, the Monday edition of the Morning Buzz, and we will be right back after this.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Aristizabal. I am Colombian and Chilean, and I am a sophomore at Montclair State University with a major in communication and media arts. I think the common misconceptions can be dangerous because the more you see that, it just makes everybody else think that that is the only way one person can be, and it really kind of closes that group or community into a box. The very first time I felt represented in media is definitely the show One Day at a Time. I feel like it doesn't get enough credit, but maybe more people know it than I think. But I feel like, I don't know, a lot of people who know it. But One Day at a Time kind of centers around this Hispanic family, and it's very rare that you'll see Hispanic families portrayed in a positive manner on television. And I remember watching that show very vividly for the first time and just thinking, wow, that's my family. And I think that's something that's really special. I'll never forget that. I think it all comes back down to knowledge, learning. You need to educate yourself in order to not just fall easily into those stereotypes, like listening to the stereotypes. So just meeting new people and talking to them, just listening to their experiences. Like that's all I can really say. Just listen and you'll learn. And that's the kind of the best thing we can do, because I think a lot of bad things stem from ignorance. So
Hey, you're listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair, where music stays cool. Cooler than a dog on a skateboard. Okay, I take that back, but we're still pretty cool.
And welcome back to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair and the final Monday morning buzz of the spring semester. But don't worry, the summer buzz will be starting next week, so you won't miss out on anything. But I am Kyle Pepitone, joined with Ryan Breda in studio, and over Zoom we have Thomas Tartar. How is everybody doing this morning?
You know, it's kind of bittersweet that it's the last Monday for the regular school year of the Morning Buzz. You know, Kyle, it's been great to co-host with you because, you know, I came in April, so it was
Right.
we kind of had to get to know each other really quick, but I'm
Yeah.
so glad. I'm so glad that we were able to do this together. I'm glad. I would never have thought, like, going into this year we'd be able to be in studio together too. So
Yeah,
this
I
is
know.
nice. But I'm just so happy I was a part of the Morning Buzz this semester. We had some great memories, had some great shows.
Yeah.
Sorry if I'm getting a little too sappy for everyone, but it's just been it's been a great time, and I really appreciate, you know, the Morning Buzz producers Amanda and Kyle, not Kyle, Kenny, for letting me be a part of it this semester, and I couldn't be more grateful. So
Yeah. And you said you passed your radio test recently, so like you had the whole, you know, you had to get situated with running the board very quick.
yeah, so literally 2 days before we started, like here, I passed my ATJ test, so it was definitely a quick little transition, but it was good though. It was perfect. That was great. Thank you for Josh for training me for that too. But it's been great. It's definitely been a ride, that's for sure.
Definitely. All right. So what do you have for us, Ryan, regarding the news? It looks like Bill Gates has made some headlines recently.
Yes, well, obviously we know that Bill and Melinda Gates are getting a divorce, but it also came out that the Microsoft board investigated Bill Gates' intimate relationship with an employee. Microsoft's board of directors hired a private law firm to investigate a decades-old intimate relationship Bill Gates had with a company employee. The investigation started months before Gates resigned from the board last year, a Microsoft spokesperson announced. The New York Times on Sunday reported that Gates allegedly pursued multiple women connected to Microsoft and his foundation, creating a, quote, reputation for questionable conduct in work-related settings. A spokesperson for Gates denied the relation that he left the board due to the investigation. Definitely a lot to unpack here. You know, Bill Gates, the head of Microsoft, one of the richest men in the world, who have had such a huge influence on vaccinations, you know, getting the world somewhat back to normal. He's gave his perspective on things.
Right.
Then we hear about his divorce that everyone was talking about. And then we have this, you know, the investigation between an intimate relationship where the conduct where he was at was questionable conduct in work-related settings, which is never appropriate. So
yeah, no. Yikes. And we're seeing this like first of all, he has made a lot of headlines recently, some good, some bad, like you were saying, between vaccinations, divorce, and now this. But you know, misconduct in the workplace is something we've seen with Andrew Cuomo too, of New York, and you know, he's under fire for that as well. So, you know, it's interesting to see, like, obviously there's never been like a shortage of this stuff, but I think we're seeing a lot more of it in the news now.
yeah, and I think that's a good thing that is for coming out. So
Right.
those in power can be held accountable for their actions. That's the whole point of journalism and reporting, right?
Right, exactly.
But I just think it's a little, it's disheartening in a way because, you know, Bill Gates is a guy who's been highlighted by many as someone who's been, every time you see him on, MSNBC, NBC, things like that, just giving his perspective on how to get the world back to normal. And then all this stuff comes out saying how he treated people in the workplace. And it's bad when you have your own company doing a board investigation on you. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
He's not exempt, nor should he be.
No.
He's did something wrong and he's got to pay the consequences.
Right.
That's I guess it's unfortunate for him at the current moment. I mean, between this and the divorce, but you do something wrong, you pay the price.
Well, even with the divorce, that apparently was long coming. I mean, apparently that whole relationship was mistreated. Really? There was a Gates spokesperson said, they wrote, there was an affair almost 20 years ago which ended amicably. Bill's decision to transition off the board was in no way related to this matter. And they say that he wanted to spend time with his philanthropy. That's why he left. Okay. So it's just been, and then also mentions here that it was Gates's friendship with sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, whom Gates allegedly stayed close to, even after Epstein was convicted for soliciting girls as young as 14, that upset Melinda Gates, reportedly setting in motion the divorce process. Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, I could imagine that might be upsetting to some people, including the one you're married to.
Just a bit, yeah.
Yeah, so I can kind of see how this happened and how this was in the works for probably a little bit at this point.
Yeah, the Gates spokesperson denied that change of events with Epstein, but
right, but yeah, it might not be the truth denying it.
Right. I mean, we just know what's being reported. That was by the New York Times.
Right.
But it's definitely, Bill Gates is definitely under fire right now. So it's definitely a story to keep an eye on. And it's something to just take note of.
Yeah. Thomas, what do you think?
Yeah, I was going to say, honestly, I don't know what to say about Bill Gates specifically, other than that, I feel like he's too influential of a person with technology and stuff,
right?
To have his, I don't want to say proven numbers, because he's not a politician, but kind of significant consequences, with Andrew Cuomo, or
well, even with
athletes that get reprimanded for this kind of thing too.
But the thing is, though, what consequences happened to Cuomo? Because this all happened in March and April, and he's still governor.
I mean, his poll. I think what I want to. I think what I would. Would you view poll numbers going down for the 2024 race as a consequence?
Yes, it just depends, how low they would go, and if
I mean, he hasn't even been he even said if they want me out of office, they're gonna have to drag me out. He had no intention of ever leaving, even with the double accusations between the misconduct in the workplace and then the nursing homes from the start of the pandemic. He's still nah, I'm doing a pretty good job running this state, and I'm going to keep going until they drag me out by the ears.
That was kind of how he acted was kind of Trump-like in a way, if you really think about it.
I mean, he's a politician, so I think pride and vain is just part of him.
No, of course. But going back to the poll number real quick, 57% of Democrats say that Cuomo's doing a good job. And this was from April. Yeah, this is from the New York Times, April 24th. So,
well, I think he's up for a re-election next year. So
right,
definitely, Democrats are going to have to decide whether some more Democrats that are more on the left will have to kind of be do I want to hold my nose and vote for this guy?
Right. And even his own party was going against him. A lot of people from the Democratic Party in New York were saying, hey, you should probably step down now. And he's no. And then that's where we stand today. But according to you, over 50% still think he's doing a good job. So
57% of Democrats.
Right.
But the main thing I just wanted to point to there was just the lack of accountability there is sometimes, and when it comes to women,
right,
whether it's misconduct towards women, there's a lot of, accountability that's not there a lot of the times, especially with those in power. So, whatever does happen, we hopefully everything is done right and it's due justice, and
Right.
everyone involved can be taken care of.
Yeah.
Because it's a sad situation every time it comes up in a headline. So,
Oh, definitely. But now for some better news regarding COVID and the vaccine. From the Good News Network, Vax Live concert raises $304 million to fund 26 million COVID-19 vaccine doses for the world's most vulnerable countries. So last week, a live concert was broadcasted to over 100 countries in an effort to fund COVID vaccine rollout for less fortunate countries and healthcare workers in need. The concert wound up raising $302 million with an M dollars and paid for 26 million, also with an M, individual vaccines. The concert was organized by Global Citizen and hosted by Selena Gomez and included performances from Jennifer Lopez, Eddie Vedder, and Foo Fighters, as well as many other celebrity guest appearances, including Ben Affleck and Jimmy Kimmel. So, finally, some good news. And, I think that's really cool. Like, you got a whole bunch of people together, some musical artists, some actors, celebrities of all sorts, coming together to raise money for countries that are less fortunate. And we saw either last week or a few weeks ago that there are some countries, mainly based in Africa, who have like a net total of 0 vaccines to give out, even to their healthcare workers. So to see 26 million vaccines going to these less fortunate countries is really good news for, regarding the pandemic as a whole. Because I remember we talked about how like every country started this together, but now they're moving, every country is moving at their own pace. We see some countries that are nearly fully opened up again, and then we see countries that are almost as bad as the day they started.
yeah, this could definitely help. I know a few weeks ago we talked about India. We
Right.
talked about how it was terrible in India. I mean, numbers were through the roof. There were like 4,000 deaths a day.
Yeah.
So I do think, vaccinations help, and I really applaud everyone involved, the celebrities. I saw Prince Harry was there.
Right.
And Meghan Markle was there as well.
Yeah.
So it was great for people to come together in a way to help give back, so we can get back to some type of normalcy, right?
Yeah.
Um,
And speaking on the Prince Harry and Meghan Markle thing, they called for their fans to donate on occasion of their son Archie's birthday,
oh,
and their call had mobilized $1.9 million in 6 days.
that's awesome.
So, I mean, I guess Archie got a whole lot of birthday presents in the form of good deeds.
Yeah, I mean, thank you, Archie. I hope you had a great birthday. But the results have been astounding so far. And I think you're going to see more of these type of events going forward to try and get back to normal in a
Yeah.
way.
Yeah,
I don't know-
definitely. I was gonna say like they need to do like more of this kind of thing to for a return to normalcy in the not just the United States, but in like the entire world.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, just imagine how much we want to get back to normal. Imagine how much the celebrities want to get back to normal.
I'm sure those celebrities are having a rough time staying at home in their mansions.
Oh yeah, I know that was a big thing with Ellen DeGeneres last year. I don't know if you remember that. So Ellen DeGeneres had her show at
Right.
home, and she made a joke about being in prison from home, and that did not go well. And she lives in a huge mansion, and it was just a huge big thing. I'm only bringing it up because you mentioned the mansion
Yeah.
thing, but
Very poor choice of words.
that was kind of like the downfall of Ellen's summer, and Ellen, the
Right.
workplace, everything going on there. But yeah, it's definitely been an interesting time, like with celebrities in lockdown and how they reacted as well.
And isn't her show like ending next year too?
Yeah, she called it quits over the weekend.
Oof.
So
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I was thinking though, like for a concert like this, and this is just a fun little question, who would what artist or celebrity would you like to see at a concert like this that would encourage you to, give some money? Obviously, probably not $302 million worth of money, but just like a little bit.
Wow. So the music I like, I don't know if many people would get hyped up to donate by Kendrick Lamar. Um, However, I do think I don't listen to his music, but I do like his Broadway productions. Lin-Manuel Miranda does a great job for advocacy. Look at what he raised money a few years ago for Puerto Rico when the hurricane hit. I don't know if you remember that, about 4 years ago.
Right.
I think Lin-Manuel Miranda would really get anyone to donate. I don't care who it is. J-Lo was a part of that effort as well with Puerto Rico, but and she was a part of this concert. But I think Lin-Manuel Miranda would have been perfect.
Cool. Thomas, what about you?
Well, I am mostly into like older music, so probably like all the people that were at like the Live Aid Relief concert, those are probably the people I would donate for.
Nice. Good call. I'm with you on that one. I'd also say, me personally, first one that came to mind, I think Shinedown would be a very big incentive for me. A lot of the new rock I've gotten into recently. So probably people who are still younger and most likely still, alive or together. Cause, a lot of those old ones are like, we're getting to the age where they're starting to not die out, but like more fall apart, stuff like that. Like, I don't even know how old the Rolling Stones are anymore. I think Mick Jagger's like what, not 60. I couldn't even hazard a guess.
I honestly think he's in his 70s, but
Well, the Rolling Stones started in the 60s. So obviously he can't be a certain age, or else he would have started the band when he was born. But according to our behind the scenes producer, he is 77, which
Wow.
is, to still be like doing music at that age is amazing. I could not imagine having the energy for that.
Yes, and Mick Jagger calls it Taylor Ham, by the way.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, Mick Jagger's wrong.
Okay. I mean, that's your opinion. I really don't know what either of them are, so I can't even say if he's right or wrong. But I mean, if you say he's wrong, I'll go with it.
Good answer. Good answer.
All right. But we have some other news regarding, what is this? University and getting rid of debt. 2 words you really think wouldn't go in the same sentence. Am I right?
Wow.
So, Delaware State University is canceling more than $700,000 in student loans for recent graduates hit hard by the COVID-19 pandemic. The university will cancel about $730,655 for over 220 students, the school announced this week, with the average student receiving about $3,276 in debt release. Antonio Boyle, Delaware State University's vice president for strategic enrollment management, said, quote, "Too many graduates across this country will leave their schools burdened by debt, making it difficult for them to rent an apartment, cover moving costs, and otherwise prepare for their new careers or graduate schools. While we know our efforts won't help with all their obligations, we all felt it was essential to do our part," end quote. So, good for them. I personally would like to see Montclair do some of this. I mean, they did waive the housing and stuff a bit. They gave refunds at the start of this, but they've since stopped that. I know if we ever get sent home in the near future, housing refunds are a no more. So it's really interesting to see if other colleges will follow suit. I, for one, really hope they do, being a college student and all, and having to experience this debt almost next year when I graduate. So not looking forward to that.
Yeah. I think it's great what colleges are doing. Well, this college in Delaware, just because we just lived through a year where no one got the college experience. We got it through Zoom. I mean, we basically learned everything through Square.
Yeah.
And it's just like, even if there was no pandemic, this was good. This was a great idea because of just the economic divide people are going through, especially when it goes to college, because college just gets more and more expensive every year, the more
Yeah.
demand comes, right? And when that happens, though, you have something happen where people have to choose like where they want to go to school, where they have to go. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's honestly, I was just watching the Netflix documentary of the college admission scandal, and they brought up an interesting point. It's like, all of these schools who are, the more like the Yales, they're like the prestige schools. It's just,
Right.
it's the economic divide between students as well. And it also just pushes people to, anyone should be able to go to the school of their choice. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, 100%.
And I think if college gets more expensive, what's going to happen to people who are in the middle and lower classes? Are they going to be discouraged from going to college? And I think what the Biden administration is trying to do in regards to college, making it more affordable, especially having, the possibility of free universal community college, could be a great step in making college an
Right.
equal divide. Because you need a college degree nowadays to be successful. That's just math. That's just science.
And even still, that's not a guarantee as much as it was, years ago. Like a college degree helps, but it's not going to get you a definite job
right,
like it used to. Like back in the day, like when college wasn't like a mainstream thing, if you went to college, you were pretty much set for life.
right.
But now it's just like, hey, good job. You're just like millions of other students who did the same thing this year. Good luck.
Yeah. And it's just like, it's all like a money game at the end of the day. We all know it, So it's great to see Delaware State do this. It's great for the students, and for the, this is happening through the American Family Rescue Plan. So that's great. But hopefully we see more of this.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. Tom.
Yeah, I was just like, I think there has to be like an audit on like what people are like taking on debt for. Like, for example, there was a study that showed that like there's a significant amount of students who are using like loans and that kind of thing for like spring vacations, like to Florida. I think there has to be like an audit though on like whether they were using for like the school or like for like something like that.
Wait, they were taking out student loans to go to Florida?
Yeah, they were taking on like yeah, they were taking on like debt or something for like spring break vacations or something. I can pull it up.
And there's the other side of the story and why we can't do this all the time. College students never cease to amaze me. Am I right?
I mean, I think the people who do that really ruin it for everyone else, because the majority of people, use that money for good use and use that money because they don't have the.
Exactly. Yeah.
Here, according studentloanhero.com, 1 in 5 college students pay for spring break with student loan survey says.
I'm speechless. I mean, okay, 1 in 5 isn't as bad as I thought it was, but that's still just ridiculous. Why? Look, I get you want spring break, and not having it this year. I know how important spring break is to some people to get to relax. But to put yourself in more debt for a vacation, how does that make any sense?
Well, it honestly beats me.
Hey,
we live in Jersey. We have the beach. Our beaches are great.
Yeah, our beaches aren't bad. I mean, look, I'm not one for outdoors partying or social interaction of any sorts. But why would you hinder your future self by giving you more debt to pay off just for a week in Florida? If you work hard and, get a steady job, you can go for Florida anytime you want. That's my rationale, but maybe I'm the crazy one.
Nah, a little bit. No, I'm kidding. Hey, gotta mess around with it. But yeah, that's definitely a staggering statistic, Thomas. But I do think going forward that number could drop. I mean, maybe if colleges had spring break,
I mean, I'm pretty sure most of my friends' colleges did. As far as I know, out of all of my friends, we're like the only college who didn't get a spring break this year. And based on that too, I'm pretty sure we're like one of the colleges that, started as late as we did.
Yeah. And that's definitely been a highly debated topic. I remember back in April, the
Yeah.
whole Res Life situation, and Res Life actually said that they regret not having spring break.
Oh, really?
Yes, and
That's an interesting development.
one of the meetings they had during the whole Res, they were able to have spring break for the students. So they did say that. So that is definitely interesting. But hopefully going forward there is, and hopefully going forward people are wise about their money, because at the end of the day, it is your money.
Yeah. Hindsight is 2020. But now we have our end segment host, Emma Coughlin, here with hot takes. Emma, welcome. How are you
Good.
today?
How are you guys? It's good to see you in studio. Sorry, that's my sister waving in the background.
Hello, and welcome to the morning show.
Hello. She's not going to show her face, but she says hello. All right. So last night we had the MTV Awards. So that's pretty exciting, especially if you're a Marvel fan, which I'm a Marvel fan. So Kyle is also a Marvel fan. That's great. Awesome. So particularly WandaVision won a lot last night. So it won Best Show. Elizabeth Olsen won Best Performance in a Show for Wanda Maximoff in WandaVision. Catherine Hahn won Best Villain for Agatha Harkness in WandaVision. And the two of them won for Best Fight as well. Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie won for Best Duo in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Anthony Mackie also won for Best Hero. And Scarlett Johansson was honored with the Generation Award, as well as a bucket of slime from her husband, Colin Jost. Some other big awards included Chadwick Boseman for Best Performance in a Movie. Sacha Baron Cohen won Comedic Genius Award, and Regé-Jean Page won Best Breakout Performance for Bridgerton. So some pretty exciting things. There were a few things where I was like, what the heck? Like Best Movie was To All the Boys, Forever and Always, which I was kind of like, really? There were definitely better movies out there. But that's okay. There was another one that sort of bothered me and I can't remember what it was. But yeah, I mean, I'm super excited about all the Marvel stuff.
Yeah, a clean sweep for Marvel. And to see WandaVision get so many awards is like so great, because that, like I said, it's going to be hard for me for Marvel to follow up anything after WandaVision. That's why I wasn't as interested in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because it was a lot more grounded in reality. The social issues they touched on aside, just like the concept of the show as a whole was just so much more grounded than WandaVision was. Then I'm like, WandaVision is a hard one to follow, because every week I'm like, okay, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? And despite some of the letdowns in the finale that some people had, I was very sad when it ended.
Yeah, I was too. I thought it was a great show. I did like Falcon and the Winter Soldier better just because I don't know, like the sort of it's different for me. I liked the grounding in the reality and all that stuff. I thought that was a bit refreshing for Marvel for me, but that's not to say that WandaVision wasn't a great show. And I also think it's just nice that, they get recognized at the MTV Awards, because they don't really get recognized anywhere else, which is fine. I know it's like big blockbuster movies like that. Actually, they're not movies, they were shows this year, but they don't usually win like the Oscars or the Golden Globes, and that's fine. I don't need them to, but I think it's nice that they get that recognition, and it's nice for fans to have sort of a night to celebrate.
Right.
Yeah, but
because I know people view them differently than like a lot of the other shows, like, oh, they're just comic book movies, yada yada yada. But I don't think a lot of people realize how much work goes into all those productions. They deserve the same amount of recognition as any other movie, because they're like 10 minutes worth of credits, and there are thousands of people working on these things.
Yeah, and they're huge. And I think the actors too, like they get overlooked as well. Like some of the like Elizabeth Olsen is a fantastic actress. Yeah. And just because she's playing a superhero, I think people kind of tend to overlook that. Same with Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan, honestly. I was really impressed with both of them. Right. I mean, I've only seen them in Marvel stuff, so I can't compare it to anything else, but I don't know. I was super impressed with them.
Yeah.
So.
Ryan, Thomas, what do you guys think?
You see, I'm the type of person I would rather watch an A24 movie than a Marvel movie. Just because I like the plots of movies more. I know, call me old fashioned, I guess. I mean, I'm not saying I don't like the plot of a Marvel movie.
Who needs a story?
No, like, but you know, at A24, it's like, you know, you have movies like Hereditary when you don't know what's gonna happen next, and you have this like Marvel movies. I feel like they're great. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, it's like I'd rather watch movies that really touch me in a way.
Right.
The only Marvel movie that really gave me that feeling was Endgame. Now it's because of the ending, but yeah, that's just my thoughts on it.
That's fair.
Yeah, I can see. I think they both have their place. At least for me, I do enjoy a good like Lady Bird. Love that movie.
Lady Bird was great. I mean,
Yeah, that was a great movie. And I should even preface this by saying I'm a fairly new Marvel fan. I mean, I just like watched all the movies like within the last year, and then I got like my whole family into it, my friends into it. But so I enjoy them, and they're kind of more like comfort movies now. But
Right.
I think they both have their place. They are separate, and that's okay. But yeah, so. But anyway, great night for Marvel. Congratulations to all those people. Also, I think the Scarlett Johansson thing is really great too because
The award or the bucket of slime?
yeah, yeah. Well, there was that too. But no, I think that's great. I think that she's really, really talented, and I have seen her in other things other than Marvel, and well, that was very well deserved. So yeah, good for her. But okay, there was something else that I wanted to talk about today because I saw this over the weekend and I don't know, it's just kind of like, it's intriguing to me. So I don't know if anybody here knows who Bella Porch is.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
No.
yeah, she's the. Go for it.
Yeah. She has like one of the most liked or like viewed TikToks in the world ever. I don't even know how many views it is at this point. I mean, it's like millions of views. It's a lot of people. And it's literally just her like moving her face around to a sound, which sounds it is exactly what it sounds like. Like I know that sounds weird, but it is exactly what it sounds like. But anyway, I noticed that she has a song out on Spotify, and I was like, okay, is that like the like Bella Porch, like the girl on TikTok? And it is. So I listened to it. It's not bad. There's a lot of TikTokers who have music, things now, and it's not bad comparatively. I just think it's super interesting that all these like people who are doing, I know this sounds mean, nothing on the internet are getting like.
I mean, I think you hit it spot on.
It's like, what? And is this the future of pop music? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting to me that these young girls who are doing nothing, like the other one was Dixie D'Amelio, and I think it's Addison Rae too, that has a song on Spotify. And those I've listened to, and I didn't even really get through the songs because I was bored. But yeah, it just seems like this is the future of pop music. So good luck, everybody.
Well, I hate this generation of music, honestly.
Yeah,
I'm with you, Thomas.
I do want to say though that TikTok has been, I think it's expanded pop music though too. Like it used to just be sort of one genre that would be like popular, but now I feel like it's really a lot more diverse. So that's good, and I appreciate that. But these like little viral stars, I'm not crazy about.
Do you know what it is though? They're smart because TikTok has like took the music industry and like ran with it. So they know that the people are going to use, especially their audience are going to use their audio in a song or a dance or something. Then they get more views. So honestly, it's smart for them. And I think they're moving to music because TikTok may die out one day as if we're sad, to see it. But I think that's part of the reason why. So they're smart for it, even though I might not like their music. They're doing the smart thing with analytics with TikTok.
Yeah, you are right, Ryan. I will props to the people who like grabbed these people and was like, all right, let's do a song because they know where the money's gonna be made. So good.
Yeah, but if it lacks passion, what's the point?
I know. Yeah, but I mean, especially in like pop music, like
Right.
it's about the money, for a lot of people, not for everybody. There
That
are
is
pop
true.
musicians like Taylor Swift, Harry Styles, where I would say that's not necessarily true, but yeah, so we'll
Right.
see.
But that's all we have for you today. This has been the final Monday morning buzz of the spring semester, but we'll be back next week with the summer buzz, so not much is going to change except maybe our lineup. But for now, I am Kyle Pepitone, joined with my co-host Ryan Breda, our newscaster Thomas Tarter, and our end segment host Emma Coughlin. Stay tuned for the Tuesday morning buzz tomorrow with new people and new stories. This has been 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. Have a good day, everyone.
Hags.